And so if you extend that argument to perhaps someone like Richard Dawkins or Sam Harris, I think most of them don't want to believe in God.
Yes.
Right. So, and I think actually, if you think about some of the hardcore atheist positions, right, just a statement like something can come from nothing for a lay person, I think that's a lot more, I think that rests in a lot more faith that the universe can create itself from nothing, not potential, not wave functions, from literally nothing, than the idea that something created something, just to use a very simple argument. And so by, this is just one example, and it's not necessarily rigorously philosophical. That's not my training. But for the lay people out there, if you just consider what certain atheists are asking you to believe in, it is that nothing can produce something, or something can come from nothing.
But why is I know it may sound incredibly obvious and self-evident why that's absurd, but philosophically, it's important, I think, to understand why it's absurd, rather than simply taking it for granted that, oh yeah, of course it's. Why is it absurd or illogical, whatever you care to say, that something can come from nothing? Because I'm asking, I don't quite understand what is nothing. I mean, this is a philosophical question, because is nothing a thing out there from which nothing comes? Like, it's like an empty room, but then an empty room isn't really empty because it exists in a space-time continuum. It has, it's not quite as nothing as you would think. So the very concept of nothing perhaps needs to be defined more clearly before we can say it's illogical or incoherent or absurd to say that something can come from nothing. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. And the famous atheist Lawrence Krauss tried to his book. He tried to explain how something could come from nothing, but his nothing relied upon the idea that particles in physics can spontaneously emerge from potential fields.
Right.
But that's not nothing. That's a potential to exist.
Right.
So you're very right, Paul. I'm perhaps not the best person to ask this, because it's very much about epistemology and etymology, how you describe nothingness.
Yes.
But I think on a very basic human level, it's quite easy for us to understand that you can't even conceive of what nothing is.
Yeah, because the paradox is because you're conceiving.
Yes, it's very difficult to do.
It's inconceivable.
And so it is inconceivable. And so therefore, when the atheists ask you to believe, and it is a belief, he or she or they cannot prove to you that something can emerge from nothing. It's not possible. Right? And here's what I was referring to earlier, Paul. One of the things that they will say is that the first law of thermodynamics is essentially that energy is conserved.
Right.
And therefore, how could all the energy in the universe have been, so it can't be created or destroyed. And so all the energy in the universe, therefore, what does it emerge from? Where does it come from? Is a question you could ask.
Indeed.
Logically speaking, the Big Bang. So what gives the Big Bang the energy, the impetus to exist? And so a famous kind of atheist refutation is, okay, the laws of physics and nature only apply within the universe. But that's what we would call an inherently metaphysical claim, I would say. You can't prove that. That's not a provable statement.
Right.
You cannot scientifically show me that is the case or not the case. It doesn't fall under Popper's definition of a scientific statement.
That's falsifiable.
Yes, that is falsifiable. And so this is what I'm trying to explain to you, is it's partly hubris, and it's partly that people simply don't want to believe in God anymore. And I think what it really comes down to is you have intellectual pride, but you have moral pride as well. Part of the injunction of believing in God is that you have to do what God says, or you have to try.
Or in Islam, submission or submission.
Yes,
literally,
exactly, which is a sign of humility.
Very much so.
Yes, and you have to therefore accept that there is objective morality, and I think that's where a lot of people just don't like it. They're like, and it's fine. It's fine if you can admit to yourself, I just don't want to be told what to do. Right? I don't want to accept that there are things that I've been told by God to do and not to do. I'd rather come up with my own moral code. Then really what the modern world is a blend between scientism and existentialism.
Gosh.
Most people
I
aren't.
like that. Hold that thought. I'm just thinking a headline here: atheism, a blend of scientism and existentialism. It's a great phrase. That
Yeah.
I shall nick that if that's all right with you.
Yeah. No copyrights here.